Why does every Vietnamese home have an ancestor altar? Imagine you've just been invited into a Vietnamese home. You expect to see a television, a sofa, family photos, maybe a bookshelf. Instead, the first thing everyone asks you to notice is a small wooden altar. Fresh flowers, fruit, a pair of candles, 3 sticks of burning incense. Everyone becomes quiet. The family bows. Some whisper a few words. Then, life continues as if nothing unusual happened. No one explains it. No one questions it. Because for millions of Vietnamese families, this is simply part of everyday life. But for many visitors, one question immediately comes to mind. Why would a family keep an altar inside their own home, and who are they talking to? Travel across Vietnam, from crowded cities to quiet villages, and you'll begin to notice something remarkable. The houses may look completely different. Some are modern apartments. Some are centuries-old wooden homes. Some are tiny. Some are luxurious. Yet inside, many of them share one common feature: an ancestor altar. It doesn't matter whether the family is wealthy or modest. Whether they live in Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, or a small mountain village. For many families, the altar is not optional. It is the heart of the home. Look closely. Nothing is placed there by accident. The incense burner, fresh flowers, seasonal fruit, small cups of tea, candles, photographs. Each object tells a story. The fruit symbolizes gratitude for nature's gifts. Flowers represent sincerity and respect. Incense creates a quiet moment of reflection. The family photographs remind younger generations of those who came before them. For many Vietnamese people, these objects are not magical. They are symbolic. A way of saying, "We haven't forgotten you." Many foreigners ask, if Vietnamese people already have temples and pagodas, why build another altar at home? The answer reveals something deeply personal. Temples are places for community. Ancestor altars are places for family. The altar isn't meant to replace religion. It's meant to preserve memory. It's where birthdays of the deceased are remembered. Where families gather before Lunar New Year. Where children learn the names of great-grandparents they never met. Home is where family begins. So the family altar stays at home. This tradition wasn't created overnight. Its roots stretch back thousands of years. Long before modern Vietnam existed, people believed family didn't end with death. Over time, these indigenous beliefs blended with Confucian ideas about filial piety, respecting parents and ancestors, as well as influences from Buddhism and Taoism. The result wasn't one religion. It was a uniquely Vietnamese tradition. One that places gratitude at the center of family life. For centuries, children learned that honoring the past helped strengthen the future. The altar became the quiet reminder of that lesson. Imagine a young man who has been working overseas for years. He finally returns home for Lunar New Year. His mother hugs him. His father smiles, but before anyone sits down to eat, someone says softly, "Come and greet your grandparents." He walks toward the altar. Lights 3 sticks of incense. Bows silently. His grandparents passed away many years ago. Yet in that moment, they are still part of the family's reunion. This scene plays out in countless Vietnamese homes every year. Not because families live in the past, but because they believe gratitude should never be forgotten. At first glance, some visitors assume Vietnamese people worship the dead. But that interpretation is too simple. For many families, the altar isn't about fear. It's not about treating ancestors as gods. It's about remembering where the family came from. Different families understand and practice this tradition in different ways. Some approach it as a spiritual belief. Others see it primarily as a cultural custom. What they often share is the idea that those who came before deserve remembrance and respect. Vietnam is changing rapidly. More people live in apartments. Young professionals move abroad. Families become smaller. Yet the ancestor altar hasn't disappeared. It has simply changed. Some homes have elaborate wooden altars. Others keep a simple shelf with a photograph, flowers, and incense. The size may change. The meaning often remains. Perhaps the ancestor altar isn't really about the past. Perhaps, it's about the future. Every time parents light incense, children are watching. Not just learning a ritual. Learning gratitude. Learning humility. Learning that life didn't begin with them. And that one day, they too will become part of their family's story. In many parts of the world, a house is simply where people live. But in Vietnam, for many families, a home is also where memories live. Where gratitude lives. Where generations continue speaking to one another. Not always with words, but through traditions quietly passed from one pair of hands to the next. Maybe that's why the ancestor altar remains at the heart of so many Vietnamese homes. Because before looking ahead, many Vietnamese families choose to remember those who helped them get here. If this story changed the way you see Vietnam, subscribe to Why Vietnamese. Because every tradition has a reason. And every answer begins with one simple question. Why?